Let's take a look at dividing proper fractions. And as you can see, multiplication and division are opposite operations, and you're going to use this relationship when you divide fractions. There are 4 steps we're going to look at. I'm going to read through them, and then we're going to practice 3 or 4 problems with these steps as we divide proper fractions. The first step is that you want to write out the fractions basically, and then you want to keep the first fraction. Step number 2 is that you want to change the division sign to a multiplication sign, and these steps will make more sense once we start practicing them. Step 3, you want to invert the number you are dividing by. Invert, or another way of thinking about it would be to flip that second fraction. And then step 4, you want to multiply and you want to reduce it. And certainly you can, if you can cancel ahead of time before you multiply, you can do that as well. So let's take a look at our first example, and hopefully these steps will make a little more sense to you. So our first division problem is going to be 1/4 divided by 1/3. And we're just going to follow the steps, and step 1 says that we should keep the first fraction, which is 1/4. Step 2 says change the division sign to a multiplication sign. And step 3 says that we should take the 1/3 and we should invert it or flip it. So 1/3, if we invert it, becomes 3/1. And our final step, step 4, says that we should multiply and then reduce. So now we've changed our division problem into a multiplication problem, and we simply multiply and then reduce or change it into an improper fraction if we want. So 1 times 3 is 3, and 4 times 1 is 4. So our answer is 3/4. Let's try another example. Example number 2. And here we're going to take 2/3 and let's divide that by 3/5. So we're going to follow our steps. Step 1 says keep our first fraction, which is 2/3. Step 2, change our division sign to a multiplication sign. And step 3, we're going to flip or invert the fraction 3/5, and it becomes 5/3. Finally, we're going to multiply and then reduce. So 2 times 5 is 10, and 3 times 3 is 9. So our answer is 10/9. However, we can take this improper fraction and we can change it to a mixed number, if you recall, by dividing the numerator or the top number by the bottom number, and we'll end up with our mixed number. So we're changing an improper fraction back to a mixed number. So your answer is 10/9, or if you wanted to write it as 1 1/9, that would be acceptable as well. Let's take a look at a third example. And in our third example, we have 4/5, and we're going to divide that by 3/5. And we're going to follow the steps again. So we keep our first fraction of 4/5, change our division sign to a multiplication sign, and take that second fraction, the one that that's being divided by, and we're going to flip or invert that, and 3/5 becomes 5/3. Now here's an example that you can, if you want, you can cancel those 5s out by dividing both the top and the bottom by 5. And so 5 divided by 5 is 1, and the same thing down here. So we could reduce it at the end, or we could cancel before we multiply, which is what I chose to do. And now we multiply. 4 times 1 is 4, and 1 times 3 is 3. And you'll see again that we have an improper fraction where the number on top is larger, and we can change that to a mixed number, again, by dividing our numerator 4 by our denominator 3. And 3 goes into 4 ones, so we're going to subtract that. And so our answer is 4/3, or if we want to look at it as a mixed number, we can write it as 1 and 1/3. So hopefully these 3 examples have helped you learn how to divide proper fractions.